I never thought a single conversation could shatter everything I believed to be true. But looking back now, I realize how quickly things can unravel when you're least expecting it. It all started on a rainy Tuesday evening. I remember because the weather had been unusually gray, and my wife, Emily, was more distant than usual. We'd been married for 5 years, and although life had its ups and downs, things were good. At least, that's what I thought. That night, Emily and I sat down after dinner to watch a movie, but she was distracted. Every few minutes, she'd glance over at me, her eyes flickering with something I couldn't quite place. Unease, maybe. We didn't say much to each other as the movie played. She didn't laugh at the parts that usually made her chuckle, and I noticed her picking at her food, something she rarely did. "Emily, is something wrong?" I asked, leaning forward. She'd been acting off for a while, but I was afraid to address it. She paused the movie, her fingers hovering over the remote. "Actually, there's something I need to tell you." The words felt heavy as she spoke them, but she hesitated again. Her lips trembled, and my stomach sank. I hadn't seen her this nervous since the night she told me she was pregnant with our daughter, Lucy. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice softening. I set down my drink, suddenly feeling the need to brace myself. "I need you to promise me you won't get mad," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Okay, I promise," I replied, though a sense of dread crept up my spine. "Lucy isn't your biological daughter," she said, her words striking me like a punch to the gut. The air left my lungs in an instant. "What?" Emily closed her eyes as if bracing herself for my reaction. I stood up, my heart racing, disbelief washing over me like a tidal wave. "Are you saying that she's not mine? That she's not my child?" I stammered, my voice cracking with the weight of it all. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this. Please, just let me explain." I didn't know what to think or feel. My mind was spinning, 1,000 questions flooding my thoughts. I had always known Lucy wasn't a perfect blend of me and Emily, but I thought nothing of it. She had Emily's eyes and my smile. How could I have been so blind? "I don't understand," I said, pacing the room now. "How long have you known? Why didn't you tell me?" "From the moment I found out, it was just a mistake, a one-time thing, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you." I felt like I was suffocating. I had to sit down, but my hands were shaking. Emily sat beside me, her eyes filled with tears, but I couldn't bring myself to comfort her. This wasn't about her right now. It was about me, about Lucy. "Who's the father?" I asked, my voice low, almost too calm. It was someone from my past," she replied, her face turning red with shame. "It was before we even got married. We were in a rough spot, and I wasn't thinking. It wasn't planned, but I didn't tell you because I was afraid of losing you. I thought you'd leave me if you knew." Was it a one-night stand? I couldn't even look at her now. My mind was spinning, the image of Emily with someone else taking root in my brain. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, but it meant nothing. It was a mistake, I swear it. And I was going to tell you, but then we got married, and then Lucy came along, and the longer I waited, the harder it became to tell you." I was afraid. "Afraid of me?" I repeated. "What about being afraid of the truth?" I stood up again, this time pacing the room in frustration. My world felt like it was crashing down around me. How could I have missed this? How had Emily kept such a secret for so long? I thought we were okay," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "We've been through so much together. I loved Lucy like she was my own. How could you hide this from me?" "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I thought I could carry this burden alone, but it's been eating me up. I never wanted to hurt you." The silence between us grew thick and suffocating. My heart was still trying to process what she had just said. I had always believed that Lucy was mine, that she was the product of my love for Emily, but now everything felt tainted. I felt like I didn't know her, either of them. How had they pulled this off? How had Emily hidden such a massive truth from me? Why tell me now? I finally asked, my voice hollow. Why not keep it buried like you've been doing all these years? Because Lucy's older now, and the older she gets, the more I fear she'll find out herself. I didn't want to carry this secret any longer, not when I knew how much it could hurt you. Her words hit me, and for a moment I felt the weight of it all. She wasn't just protecting herself, she was protecting Lucy too. I could see that now, though it didn't make it any easier. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The only sound in the room was the soft pitter-patter of the rain against the windows. How do I even process this, Emily? I asked, my voice barely audible. I don't know, she said, her face crumpling as she wiped away her tears. I just want you to understand. I didn't mean to hurt you. I love you, and I love Lucy. I wanted to build a life with you. And I thought if I could keep this secret, maybe everything would be okay. The truth hit me in waves. I loved Lucy more than anything in the world. But now, the thought that she wasn't mine by blood, it hurt. I couldn't deny it. But as I sat there staring at Emily, her tear-streaked face, her desperate eyes, I realized something. This wasn't about biology. This wasn't about bloodlines. I loved Lucy because she was mine in every way that mattered. She was the little girl who called me Daddy every morning, the one who ran into my arms after school, the one whose smile could light up my darkest days. And Emily, despite everything, was still the woman I had chosen to marry. Despite the betrayal, despite the lies, I realized I wasn't ready to throw it all away. It wasn't going to be easy, and I wasn't sure where we would go from here, but maybe, just maybe, there was a way forward. I looked at Emily, my chest heavy, but my heart open. We have a lot to work through, I said quietly. She nodded, her eyes filled with hope. I know, I'll do whatever it takes. For the first time in hours, I took a deep breath. It wasn't the end of the world, not yet, but it was the beginning of a new chapter, one that would take time, trust, and a lot of healing. But it was a chapter I was willing to face, because sometimes the truth might hurt, but it also has the power to set things right again.